They captured the clearest underwater UFO on camera, and it happened in 2023.
Buckle up, Star Wars nerds. You're gonna like this one.
What can only be described as the wreckage of a crashed spaceship.
They came across something unusual.
During a U.S. Navy training exercise off the coast of California, sonar operators tracked an object moving fast beneath the surface with no visible propulsion. Former Pentagon official Luis Elizondo later confirmed the footage was reviewed by defense analysts. The object dove, changed direction, and vanished into deep water. No debris. No explanation. The ocean already hides most of the planet, and this encounter added a new mystery to the list.
If what we are witnessing is a true trans-medium vehicle, a vehicle that can penetrate that barrier between air and sea or air and space without destruction, then we're looking at a propulsion system that is so far advanced, it's beyond next generation technology. So we're probably looking at, and what it is theorized is we're looking at, is a gravitational propulsion system, a non-reactionary propulsion system.
Baltic Sea anomaly discovery. In June 2011, the Baltic Sea anomaly was discovered, but not by a team of scientists. Instead, it was found by a team of Swedish treasure hunters who were out hunting for shipwrecks and sunken relics when their sonar screen lit up with something utterly unexpected. The group, famously known as Ocean X and led by Peter Lindbergh and Dennis Asberg, was scanning the seabed in the northern Baltic Sea, specifically in the Gulf of Bothnia between Sweden and Finland, when their equipment detected a large striking formation on the ocean floor. Rather than the familiar wreckage of a ship or scattered debris, the side-scan sonar return revealed a disc-shaped object about 60 meters or 200 feet in diameter, resting at a depth of roughly 90 meters or 300 feet below the surface. What immediately shocked the treasure hunters when they made this discovery was its symmetrical circular shape and the strange distinct features that didn't resemble the irregular contours common to natural rock formations in the area. In the initial sonar images, the object appeared almost artificially geometric, with what looked like straight edges, ridges, and even patterns that some observers noticed looked stair-like or architectural. Adding to the mystique, there was a long, flattened trail or runway of a disturbed seabed sediment extending from the object, almost as if something had slid or moved across the bottom to come to rest. Ocean X's sonar images were described by some as eerie and peculiar because anyone who looked at the image saw a strange circular formation emerging distinctly from the surrounding seabed. It stood out against the usually uneven geological landscape. The unusual nature of the shape, almost like a huge disc or mushroom cap rising slightly above the sea floor, captured the team's curiosity. They initially weren't sure what it was. Many thought it was an unknown geological formation. Others thought it was something far more enigmatic. The structure was detected through sonar, but at that moment, the treasure hunters didn't look into the situation. But immediately, the image was released. The Baltic Sea anomaly immediately attracted widespread media attention. Media attention and speculation. When the Baltic Sea anomaly first emerged into public awareness after its 2011 discovery by the Swedish Ocean X team, the initial sonar images sparked a shocking wave of media attention and speculation, quickly outpacing scientific caution. Because the formation appeared as an unusually circular, disc-like shape on sonar, complete with straight edges and runway marks on the seafloor, it became clear to ufologists and enthusiasts what it was. And it quickly spread to the media that they captured the clearest underwater UFO on camera. Early tabloid coverage wasn't shy about labeling the sonar return as a sunken UFO, with many outlets comparing it to spacecraft in popular culture. Many analysts suspected that the strange object was definitely not a random geological feature, but an actual UFO that must have sunk underwater over the years. The media was fascinated by what they just saw, especially since the find was in an area of the Baltic Sea that has been hidden from the public eye for a long time. So, when the Ocean X team shared the sonar images and discussed the object's peculiar geometry, journalists have revealed that this is something mysterious. Sensational headlines and stories soon spread across international news sites and social media platforms, with many people covering the mystery of the object's origin, its bizarre shape, and the fact that experts could not fully explain what the object was. Some theorists suspected that this was related to the myth of Atlantis and other ancient submerged civilizations, as there are many unverified legends about advanced prehistoric cultures lost beneath the waves. As UFO enthusiasts picked up the story, they had different ideas about what this strange underwater object could be. Some said that this could be a crashed extraterrestrial spacecraft, while others suspected these were remnants of unknown advanced technology hidden beneath the surface. Some of the treasure hunters and experts who made the find noticed that this object was very unique and unusual, but they still couldn't explain what it was. But the world needed answers. So Ocean X decided to send another group of treasure hunters to that specific spot and investigate. And what they found out would surprise you. Ocean X Expedition Return. When the Ocean X team returned to the Baltic Sea anomaly site in 2012, a year after their initial 2011 discovery of a strange circular object on sonar, their goal was simple. They wanted to get closer, clearer visuals and data on the mysterious formation that had captured global imagination. When they brought with them was far more than basic treasure hunting gear. For their second expedition, they brought more advanced survey equipment, including side-scan and multi-beam sonar to map the seafloor in greater detail, and remotely operated vehicles capable of descending to depths too great and treacherous for divers alone. The team chartered the fishing vessel Ankylos and loaded it with expensive technical apparatus, including specialized sonar that could paint three-dimensional images of the seabed and underwater cameras attached to robotic submersibles. But almost immediately, the mission fell into difficulty. They were shocked when their multi-beam sonar, which was designed to sweep wide swaths of the ocean floor, malfunctioned. That forced them to rely on less reliable returns. Despite these setbacks, Ocean X persisted. They deployed ROVs tethered to the ship that could descend roughly 300 feet to inspect the feature themselves. Through those remote cameras, the team saw straight edges, flat surfaces, and what appeared to be a hole or depression in the structure. Even stranger, these are features that seemed unusual compared to many natural seabed formations. In some footage and sonar returns, parts of the anomaly almost looked geometric. They looked like edges and planes that didn't match the typical randomness of glacially shaped rock. Making the expedition even more complex, the team reported strange temperature readings near the object, where the water right above its surface was unusually colder than the surrounding water. This was a detail that had no easy explanation, especially when you look at the Baltic's generally consistent thermal profile at such depths. Some members also claimed that electronic equipment behaved erratically when the vessel moved directly above the anomaly. This showed that something strange was happening in that region. And it seemed like the UFO was interfering with their machines. But there was a problem. The team had tight financial and time constraints. Deep sea operations like this are costly, and the team had limited days at sea to conduct their work. With the funds depleting fast and the unreliable equipment, the expedition never achieved the comprehensive survey. Instead, investigating the site ended up raising more questions than answers, leaving the anomaly's nature unresolved. they decided to take some of the specimens back to the lab, and you won't believe the results that they ended up with. Lab results and skepticism. When the Ocean X team brought physical samples back from the Baltic Sea anomaly, what could have been a turning point in deciphering its nature instead helped to ground the conversation in everyday geology. Geologists who examined the material, especially Volker Bruchert of Stockholm University, revealed that it wasn't what we thought. According to him, the rocks there were nothing exotic, but were typical of the northern Baltic seabed, including granites, gneisses, and sandstones. There was a piece that could be identified as basaltic or volcanic rock, and this was a bit strange because volcanic features are uncommon in that part of the sea. These types of rocks are exactly the kind transported and deposited by glacial action during the last ice age as massive ice sheets advanced and retreated, scraping and reshaping the landscape beneath and scattering debris across what would eventually become the Baltic seabed. The geological interpretation provided a powerful counterbalance to early sensational claims that the anomaly might represent something artificial or even extraterrestrial. The scientists were sure that the rocks formed by glacial and sedimentary processes would be mistaken for unusual formations. So to them, there was no underwater UFO. Critics also stated that the initial sonar scans were taken with relatively inexpensive equipment that was improperly wired and calibrated, introducing distortions that could make natural rock appear more geometric or artificial than it really is. This phenomenon, where human perception sees familiar patterns where none actually exists, is known as pareidolia, and it plays a big role in interpreting indistinct deep-sea imagery. Marine experts like those from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution have even gone as far as to label the original sonar image as virtually useless for identifying an exact underwear formation because of these distortions, emphasizing that the appearance alone isn't enough to claim anything extraordinary. Another scientist was Charles Paul from the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, and his view was that the image might have simply captured a natural rock outcrop, sediment shift, or other commonplace seafloor feature. So, he also believed that there wasn't a UFO underwater, but just normal rocks. Taken together, these scientific viewpoints have led to a consensus among many researchers that the anomaly isn't evidence of artificial construction, but just a natural geological process. Still, there are still many questions about the shape and formation of the strange object that was found underwater, and the question is, what if the UFO had shifted to another position? Well, some other experts have made some strange claims. Other underwater structure claims. The oceans have long been a stage for mysterious underwater formations that capture the attention of explorers, historians, and the public. One of the most discussed of these is the Bimini Road, located near North Bimini in the Bahamas. First discovered in 1968, Bimini Road consists of a series of large, roughly rectangular limestone blocks stretching for about half a mile along the seabed. Each block measures roughly 13 feet long, 3 feet high, and 9 feet across, forming what appears to be a linear, organized pathway or wall. Because of how uniform all these shapes were, early observers and enthusiasts are now speculating that Bimini Road might be a remnant of the lost city of Atlantis, or, at the very least, the product of an ancient, advanced civilization that predated modern history. These theories were bolstered by references to Edgar Cayce, the American clairvoyant who claimed to have psychic visions of Atlantis, including predictions that parts of the civilization would be discovered near Bimini. Despite the allure of such claims, the mainstream scientific interpretation of Bimini Road is more conservative. Geologists argue that the formation is a natural beach rock phenomenon, Beach rock rocks when loose sediment along a shoreline is cemented together by minerals from seawater, creating rigid, flat slabs over time. So, some experts say that the linear alignment and apparent geometric precision of Bimini Road can be explained by erosion patterns, tidal forces, and natural fracturing, all of which can produce the illusion of deliberate construction. Some researchers said that even if the blocks are consistent in composition with surrounding limestone, there's no evidence of human modification, tools, or aircrafts that would indicate an artificially constructed road or lost city. Bimini Road is not the only underwater structure that has sparked widespread debate. Around the world, various coastal and shallow water areas have revealed strange rock formations, submerged platforms, or aligned stone structures. This includes the Yonaguni Monument off Japan's coast and potential sunken cities off Cuba. In many cases, these formations occur naturally, due to tectonic activity, erosion, sedimentation, and glacial movement, according to scientists. But there's no doubt that some experts, ufologists, and explorers suspect that this is evidence of ancient construction instead. Some suspect that these underwater structures, especially those anomalies found in the Baltic Sea, are actually alien bases. Underwater alien bases. The theories of underwater alien bases combine deep-sea mystery, conspiracy lore, and unverified testimony. Earth's ocean is vast, dark, and large, unexplored, and according to the ufologists, it could conceal hidden bases and a network of tunnels used by UFOs or extraterrestrial civilizations as staging grounds, research hubs, or transit corridors between different regions of the planet. Some proponents argue that such underwater facilities offer secrecy and protection, allowing strange aircraft from outside our planet to enter and leave the oceans undetected while remaining concealed from the surface world. One popular locus for these theories is the Bermuda Triangle, a region in the North Atlantic long steeped in speculative narratives about disappearances of ships and aircraft. Some UFO theorists suggest that this notoriety is not tied to weather or navigational error, but actually to the presence of submerged extraterrestrial installations that influence or interfere with human activity. The logic presented is pretty simple. If highly advanced visitors were interested in Earth, setting up a base beneath thousands of feet of water would be a strategic choice for remaining hidden yet accessible to both aerial and oceanic transit. And aside from investigating the geography, you should also pay attention to whistleblower reports and anecdotal accounts that describe UFOs emerging from or returning into the ocean without disturbing the water. Some have even said that they've seen underwater cities or deep-sea platforms encountered by military personnel or civilians. In some cases, whistleblowers claim that submerged facilities are monitored or even avoided by naval forces, suggesting an awareness of their existence within certain sectors of military intelligence. Many ufologists pay attention to deep water trenches like the tongue of the ocean near the Bahamas, sometimes dubbed the Area 51 of the ocean, while others have described encounters with advanced craft and alleged underground bases. Another piece of evidence actually comes from the remote viewing lore, where individuals with claimed psychic abilities assert that they have perceived hidden bases, not just underwater, but also inside remote mountains like Alaska's Mount Hayes. This has expanded the idea that beyond the sea floor, there's a global hidden infrastructure. In fact, over the years, there have been historical sightings in oceans, revealing that something is really out there. Historical sightings in oceans. Across centuries of maritime history, oceans have been arenas for strange sightings and unexplained luminous phenomena that continue to captivate and perplex observers. One of the earliest accounts often cited in UFO lore comes from Christopher Columbus's 1492 Atlantic crossing. According to the ship's log, Columbus and crew reported seeing a mysterious light on the open sea, which he described as a small wax candle rising and falling, while navigating waters now associated with the Bermuda Triangle. They saw this flickering glow repeatedly in the night before landfall. Columbus thought it was nearby land, but some historians say it was possibly bioluminescent marine organisms. Later centuries added to the tapestry of ocean-related sightings. In the 19th century, British and European mariners recorded enormous luminous wheels or spinning lights beneath or above the sea's surface, between the Persian Gulf and the South China Sea. Crews on ships such as the HMS Vulture reported objects with large illuminated spokes in calm waters. Although these accounts have not been scientifically verified, they have fueled speculation about transient oceanic lights of unknown origin. Mariners in the 20th century continued to contribute sightings suggestive of unidentified objects interacting with oceans. Naval sonar operators and sailors reported fast-moving underwater contacts that exceeded known submarine capabilities. Meanwhile, in 1971, the USS Trepang crew claimed to detect objects emerging from Arctic waters. Throughout the post-World War II era, merchant and naval vessels logged numerous sightings of strange lights or craft in and above the ocean. There have been reports compiled by investigators associated with Project Blue Book, which indicate that the ship's officers documented unusual aerial objects or luminosities over maritime expanses. In more recent decades, sightings continue through both official and civilian reports. Commercial ships and yachts have reported lights appearing to submerge into or emerge from the sea, while some databases record thousands of sightings near coastlines and open water. Recently, investigators have scanned an island, and they found even more surprising things. Spiral in water. Recently, experts captured a shocking image that feels frozen between explanation and mystery. A sailor couldn't believe his eyes when he saw a perfect spiral churning the surface of the ocean, encircled by floating yellow markers and observed from a nearby naval vessel. At first glance, it looks unnatural, standing out sharply against the otherwise chaotic texture of open water. It seemed like there was something underneath the water causing that spiral. Spirals like this are rare in the natural ocean, and when they do appear, they are usually fleeting, distorted by wind, waves, and eggs. It's almost precise and engineered, as if something underneath the surface of the water is controlling the sea. What makes the scene especially shocking is what's missing. There is no visible object breaking the surface, like a submarine, vessel, or debris, yet the water is behaving like something massive has descended or emerged. The spiral pattern suggests that something strange is rotating, probably created by a powerful force moving vertically through the water column. Unlike a simple whirlpool that draws water inward, this formation looks more like a displacement, almost as if the ocean were pushed aside and created something strange. Images like this usually come up in discussions of USOs, which are unidentified submerged objects. Unlike aerial sightings, USOs are harder to document and even harder to investigate. The ocean absorbs sound, distorts light, and hides movement with ease. A craft capable of operating beneath the sea while leaving behind a transient, organized disturbance like this would represent a level of technology way beyond normal submarines. The water around the spiral seems to be clear, rather than violently agitated, suggesting controlled movement instead of explosive force. But the sailor looked closer, and he realized something shocking. There was another naval ship in the area with floating markers, adding another layer of intrigue. It seems like there's a body, probably the government, observing, containing, or monitoring something that cannot be seen directly. What could this spiral be, And why is this photo being hidden from the world? You won't believe that they captured the clearest image of a UFO on camera. Experts are now looking into the strange sonar image that was captured by treasure hunters. Do you think this sonar image was an actual UFO, or was it something normal? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. So, thanks for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one.